Imagine a world where stepping into the voting booth requires you to not only carry your voice, but also a handful of documents. What's your proof of citizenship, they might ask? Are we securing democracy, or are we constructing barriers? Today, we're diving into a significant and contentious piece of legislation, the SAVE Act. This act, passed by the House with a narrow vote, is a response to claims of non-citizen voting. But beneath the surface lies a complex web of implications that extend far beyond the ballot box. We'll explore this act, the government shutdown, and most importantly, the shades of truth and deception in the narrative spun by our politicians. So, what exactly is the SAVE Act? At its core, the SAVE Act requires documentary proof of citizenship for voter registration. Originally introduced as a measure to uphold election integrity amid claims from Republicans of rampant non-citizen voting, it certainly raises eyebrows and questions. For example, did you know that approximately 21.3 million Americans lack easy access to proof of citizenship documents? Advocates cite this act as a way to protect the sanctity of our elections, but it disproportionately impacts marginalized groups, particularly people of color and women who may have changed their names after marriage. How could this new requirement affect their ability to vote? It's unsettling to think that 69 million American women who've altered their names could potentially face additional hurdles. Just imagine the bureaucratic labyrinth they would need to navigate. Moreover, consider this. Only 5 states currently have voter ID laws that align with those proposed in the SAVE Act. What happens when millions of voters can't produce the necessary documents for a system designed to uphold democracy? Yes, proponents argue it's about ensuring that only U.S. citizens vote, but at what cost? On one hand, supporters argue stridently for the necessity of this act, claiming it captures the essence of election integrity. The narrative paints a picture of a system under threat, their voices echoing through the halls of Congress. However, critics highlight the glaring absence of concrete evidence of widespread non-citizen voting, a point often buried beneath a wave of passionate rhetoric. Isn't it interesting how narratives can shift so easily? When analyzing the landscape of opinions, one notices a fascinating contrast. Supporters lean heavily on the need for proof, almost as if the act itself paints a brighter picture of democracy, while clear-headed opponents argue that the implementation may serve to suppress the voices of those already marginalized. Now, let's contemplate the broader implications. If policies like this prevail, what does that signal about our society's priorities? By instilling stringent requirements, we risk disenfranchising those who need a voice the most. Disenfranchisement could lead to systemic inequality, further eroding public trust in a government already perceived as failing to serve its constituents fairly. And let's not forget about the government shutdown currently looming over this legislation. With such high-stakes negotiations taking place, the SAVE Act represents not just a bill, but a flashing beacon on a precarious political landscape. Now, let that marinate for a moment. How should we weigh the importance of proof against the potential disenfranchisement of millions of voters? Is the SAVE Act a genuine effort to enhance our electoral integrity? Or is it cloaked in a party rhetoric designed to galvanize a base more than it aims to uphold democratic values? As we trace the delicate lines of democracy, characterized by freedom and equality, we must ask ourselves tough questions. The SAVE Act is not merely a legislative measure, it's a mirror reflecting our values as a society. It beckons us to explore the balance between protecting voting rights and ensuring fair elections. It implores us to scrutinize whether our politicians are acting in the interest of the citizens they represent. Isn't that the essence of good governance? As we step back from this analysis, one can't help but feel the weight of responsibility on our shoulders. In the end, it's not just about whether we demand proof, it's whether we practice the virtues of justice and equality in our pursuit of a better society. And perhaps within that contemplation lies the true path to safeguarding the democratic ideals we cherish. What do you think? How do we navigate the complexities of our political landscape without compromising the values that bind us together? Together, let's unravel these narratives and strive for a world where the voices of all citizens resonate loudly in the halls of justice. What do you think? leave a comment and share your perspective.